What if Michael Jordan had quit basketball after he didn't make his high school team? What if Tom Brady quit football after being drafted in the disappointing 6th round? What if Mr. Beast had quit YouTube when he had no one watch his first video? What about you? Are you one step away from greatness? Are you about to quit because you're missing that one piece to make it all come together? Hey, it's Dave. And in James Clear's book Atomic Habits, he explains quitting this way, that just a 1% increase in behavior compounded daily throughout a year, a 1% increase of 1 is 0.01, and using this formula of 1.01 to 365 square equals 37. In other words, you become 37 times better over a year. The problem with that, most of us, is that we expect the curve to look like this, but in reality, most of the time it looks like this. The line is near zero until it reaches a critical breaking point. He calls this gap between what we expect and what happens. The uncomfortable valley of despair. A lot of people give up before they reach this point. At the same time, bad habits, for example, poor eating, drugs, smoking, and procrastination, have the opposite effect. A whole pizza won't make you fat overnight, but eat a whole pizza every day for a year, in other words, a 1% difference. Negative 1 minus 0.01 or 0.99365 square equals 0 in a graph that looks like this. The best example of these two graphs is the movie Forrest Gump. The movie follows two characters. Forrest, who's the supposed dumb one, follows very simple rules and behaviors and takes the high road. And Jenny, who is the smart one, seemingly given everything in life, intelligence, good looks, takes the low road. Forrest goes and does amazing things, while Jenny follows a very different path. And I know you're saying, Dave, these are fictional characters. I know, and I'm sure you know, at least one person that you're just amazed at, who comes off as the stupidest freaking person you've ever met. And yet she follows simple habits and have everything in life. And those who have everything, they've been given everything at birth. Good looks, wealth, a fancy education. Go down a very different path, give in to bad habits, and screw up their entire life. There are two ways of developing positive habits and shedding bad ones. The first way is to find what level the habit falls in. Look at this graph. The outer ring is goals, the middle ring is process, and the inner ring is identity. Identifying your identity is very important. My wife's core identity is she is a great mom. Not just a good mom, a great mom. And every action that she takes in life can be seen through that identity. Her career choices, how she spends her money, where she lives, and even the clothes she wears. And if you were ever to say, no, you're just a good mom, or you're a bad mom, this would happen. So forming new habits can be easy by making it part of your identity. I write because at heart I'm a writer. I paint because at heart I am a painter. The reverse can be true. By doing something over and over again, habits over and over again, you can form a new identity. An example of this is the TV series Breaking Bad. The series starts with Walter White, an average high school teacher, chemistry teacher, getting a diagnosis of terminal cancer. He turns to manufacturing meth to make money for his family before his death. He makes enough money right away but doesn't quit. He doesn't quit because he discovers his second identity, Heisenberg.
Now, say my name. Heisenberg. You're goddamn right.
An example of going from bad identity to good is the main character Kratos in the God of War game series. He shifts his behaviors from killing machine fueled by rage to actions of self-discover, compassion, and mentorship to his son. He discovers his new identity of fatherhood. Identity forms habits, and habits can also inform your identity. But the good news is you control all of it. All the good habits, all the bad habits, your good identity, your bad identity. The second way we form habits, and the majority of the book, is from these 4 points. We form habits by following these 4 steps. Cue, craving, response, and reward. Failure in any of these stages, the behavior fails to become a habit. If you don't have the cue, you never start. No craving, you don't have enough motivation. No response, you have no action and reward. If it's not satisfying enough, there's no desire to do it in the future. The cue triggers motivation. Motivation motivates response. Reward, which satisfies the craving, follows, and this creates the habit loop. What the author doesn't address, but seems obvious, is that it is much easier to form bad habits than good ones, and employs tactics from bad habits to form good ones. Cues are extremely powerful. Real estate agents know the smell of cookies when you enter a house gives you a sense of home, putting you in the mood to buy. For myself, I love Monday Night Football, and no matter how busy I am in life, if I hear these 3 notes, well, it's game over. I have to watch. And the NFL knows this because in every version of their theme song, which changes yearly, those 3 notes are always there. Cues are so powerful that during the Vietnam War, 20% of soldiers were addicted to heroin. At the time, heroin was thought to be irreversible and untreatable. And yet, when the U.S. government studied the soldiers returning home, they were shocked that 90% did not continue their addiction. In addiction, people talk about people, places, and things to beat it. If you need to change, you need to change the people you hang out with, the places you go, and the things you do. In Vietnam, people were hanging out with soldiers. There were users. They were in a war zone where everyone was trying to kill you. They were in a foreign country thousands of miles away. By coming home, it removed automatically all the triggers, the people, the places, the things. You can do the same thing to start a positive habit. If you don't want to do something like the running, join a running group. You'll have people, places, and things built in, like-minded people who like running, run different places, and train for races. If you don't have access to a group and want to form a new habit and forming a cue for a habit that hasn't materialized yet, that can be tough. So the author's solution to that is to first take stock of the habits that you already have. Make a list. Then do what he calls habit stacking, pairing an existing habit with a new habit. Kind of goes like this. Get up, brush your teeth, have your coffee. These are existing habits that we do without thinking about. Then add the new habit you want to do, like write for half an hour. Another habit you might have is read the paper, walk the dog. After that, add the habit you want to do. Play guitar for half an hour. After a while, the habit will take hold with the old habit. Step 2 is craving anticipation. This step is extremely powerful. Advertisers know this. Here's a commercial that even says this.
Tasting.
Anticipation is more powerful and provides more dopamine to the brain than the actual event. Waiting for Christmas is much more powerful than Christmas itself. Getting ready for a date is much more powerful than the actual date. Planning for a wedding is much better than the actual wedding. So the author pairs this with habit stacking by adding temptation into the formula. Do your habit stack, after which you do something that you are anticipating doing. Step 3 is the actual habit, the actual motion of the habit. And it's hard because in your mind, you may not want to do it.
All right. Enough of this running shit.
I unconsciously put a ton of steps before I do it. Before I start running, I have to buy new shoes, finish drywalling the basement, and at the same time, I have to solve world peace. I have to do all these things before I can run. The author's solution is to do the 2-minute rule. Ask yourself, what is the smallest thing you can do in 2 minutes? Once you've done it, you think, well, I've come this far, it's not so bad, let's do the next thing. We're going to do yoga, break out your yoga mat. What is it that you can do that you've been dreading and doing, and you put a ton of steps in between you and what you want to do? Think about it and break it down to the smallest step that you can do, and do it. Now, step 4 is reward. Take a minute to enjoy what you did, what you accomplished. Find some sort of enjoyment if it's even the smallest thing. And this is one thing that I do after I run or walk for the day. So you've reached creating a new habit. Congratulations. But now what? One good habit doesn't make it so.
Never had one lesson.
You have to have a series of habits to get there. You can't just pick up the guitar and play and expect to be Eric Clapton. It's got to be a series of habits or a system of habits to read music, to break down music, to get feedback.